this video, we're going to talk about selling yourself to events. I'm going to talk about pimping you out.
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
I've gotten a lot of emails from guys who they contact events, but they don't really get a response back. And the reason why they don't get a response back is because they don't know how to sell themselves right. So you should be contacting people if you want to get hired, if you want to get some business, you should contact people. But if you contact them the wrong way, then you won't get business. And so you have to master this. And in this video, we're going to talk about what exactly you should do. So I'm going to give you a demonstration here with one topic. So let's say my topic is communication skills, and I'm going to show you how to use this topic for different events and how you would sell yourself to different events. So let's say the first one is like a seminar event. Let's say it's like the Trafficking Conversion Summit. And this is a really big one for digital marketers, for entrepreneurs. It's a great event. So if you haven't been to it, go to it. But let's say my topic is communication skills. I'm an expert on communication. So here's how I would pitch them. I would essentially say like, hey, we did 7 figures in sales in 7 days through Facebook Live. So we will show everyone how to increase their conversions by going live. And that's essentially, that would be what's going on inside of my mind. And that's what I would tell them when I would try to pitch them. Like, hey, I'm going to show your audience how we did 7 figures in sales in 7 days through Facebook Live. And I'm going to show them how to increase their conversions by using Facebook Live. And that essentially is talking about the communication skills. And when you are pitching a seminar, you got to think in terms of how does it relate to their audience? That's essentially what's going on inside of my mind. How does it relate to their audience? Because they bring in speakers, number one, based on credibility. So the first thing that they're thinking of is credibility. Is this person really well known? So if they can get someone like Tony Robbins to their event, they think, all right, is this person really well known? That's who they really want to bring in. And then they think in terms of, or do they have insane results, like 7 figures in 7 days? It's like, oh, wow, that's impressive. I'm sure the audience wants to know that. And then they think in terms of, is the content relevant? So first they think credibility, then they think, is it relevant? What's the content? Does this relate to my audience? So if I were to say something like, I'm going to teach people how to build a phone. Well, the Trafficking Conversion Summit, they're going to say like, well, what does it have to do with anything that we're talking about? So they're going to say no. So they always think, is it relevant? And then the last one is the experience that you provide as a speaker. So are you even a good speaker? That's essentially the last one that they're actually thinking about. The first one that they're thinking about with seminars is credibility. So is this a known name in the field? Is it a known name? Then they think about the content. Is it relevant? Does this relate to my audience? Then they think about, okay, is it a good presentation in general? But let's take the same thing, the same communication skills, and now let's do it to a corporate event, to something like a sales event. So let's say I'm pitching Remax. Here's what I would say with Remax. I would essentially say, hey, your sales team did a great job. So now we're going to show them your appreciation with a really funny speech on communication skills. They're going to die laughing when they hear the part about the objections that they get in the field. So once again, it's the same thing. It's communication skills, but I pitch it very differently to a corporation, to a sales event like Remax. And so with sales events, well, with corporate companies in general, they're thinking, how do you add to the culture? So with seminars, they're thinking, okay, ROI, all that stuff is going on in their head. With companies and with colleges and basically everything except seminars, they're thinking, how do you add to the culture? How do you add to this experience? Will people talk about this when it's done? That's what they're focused on. So technically, number one, they are focused on credibility. Everyone is technically focused on credibility. They're thinking in terms of, is this a very well-known person? If a company can get Tony Robbins, if they can get Mark Cuban, if they can get the president, then they're going to bring that person in. That's what their number one focus is on. After that, that's where things change. So with companies, they're focused on the experience, on the culture, on the morale of their people. So they're not thinking in terms of, oh man, we're going to pay $20,000 for this guy, but is he going to get any return back? Are we going to make any money back from him? That's not what companies are thinking of. They're thinking of what's the experience, what's the morale, what's the culture. You're part of the culture. So you're talking about the experience. But let's take another one and let's talk about this with colleges. So with a college, I would pitch the same thing. I'd say, hey, like, most college students, they tend to get bored really quick. So we demonstrate the communication skills on everyone instead of just talk about it. And so now I would talk about actually demonstrating and how college students they get bored if they're watching a really boring speaker. And so once again, instead of talking about the same thing, instead of giving the same pitch to everyone, I'm changing it. I'm changing it from the seminar to the company to the college. And with the college, they're very similar to companies. Except with a college, they're just thinking, oh man, these students are going to boo this guy off stage if he's freaking boring. So he better not be boring. And that's kind of what's going on inside of their head. And notice that the communication skills, my topic of communication skills, it is secondary to the real reason as to why they buy, as to why they hire. The real reason as to why like seminars and why these guys bring in a speaker is in terms of credibility and then the content in general. The real reason with companies is in terms of credibility and the experience, the culture, you adding to the culture. The real reason with colleges is, once again, credibility and just to make sure you're not freaking boring. So once again, it's kind of like the engagement factor. But notice that I don't talk about the topic too much. And that's how you sell yourself. You focus on what's the real reason why they buy. Now, if you aren't really good at actually communicating you just selling in general, selling yourself, if you're not getting the responses that you want, you got to fix it. You got to be able to fix the fact that here's the steps to contacting someone. And if you say the wrong things, if you don't know how to pitch yourself, you will not get the business. And this is why I keep telling people, get Event Finder. I mean, go to speakinglifestyle.com/Event Finder, all one word, Event Finder. Go there, get the freaking program, because if you don't know how to sell yourself, you will not get on stages. You can be the greatest speaker in the world, but you will not get on stages. And this whole program talks about, here's the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, the entire thing for you to be able to sell yourself. And if you can't do this, if you don't know how to customize your message to the specific people that you're talking to, and if you don't know how to do it right, then you're not going to get on stages and you're going to struggle for a long freaking time. Go to speakinglifestyle.com/Event Finder and you'll learn the entire process. But this is a perfect example of how to sell yourself, where you take one topic, communication skills, and you describe it differently to each event, to each person, based on what they're really looking for and what they really hire. It is not about you. When people pitch, they always pitch and it's about them. They're like, oh, I talk about communication skills and I'm going to show you how to communicate. I'm going to show your people how to communicate. You can do that. You can say something like that to a seminar, but if you say that to companies, all they're thinking is, how does this like add to the culture? I mean, is this guy like really engaging from the stage? I mean, is what? And so you got to learn how to pitch. So go to speakinglifestyle.com/Event Finder if you don't know how to pitch, or if you think you do, but you're not getting the results.